El Dia de Muertos is a really important day. And a lot of times people set a time aside to kind of celebrate their ancestors. I grew up in the church and they were kind of always talking about like All Souls Day, and that's what they were talking about. But this is literally a very cultural thing called El Dia de Muertos. And El Dia de Muertos is a very like great holiday because it's not just literally inviting your ancestors before you, your parents that have passed or grandparents that have passed or great-great-grandparents or aunts or uncles or any of that stuff. It's more than just that. It's literally kind of beyond that, like every one of your ancestors, and to celebrate that. Plus, you get to involve your family now. Your kids, your spouse, your families, all that kind of comes together to really pay respects to friends, family members, and those who have died before us. And that's kind of a great way. And I guarantee you, I have been to some that are just freaking hilarious. And people are talking about like, oh my gosh, I remember when Grandpa did this. And I remember when Aunt so-and-so said this. That is kind of part of all of the celebrations. Sometimes it can be a little bit sad or a little bit that sort of thing. But I guarantee you, more often than not, people are talking about like funny stories, what they used to do, how they would say things, or how they would eat something, or like just freaking hilarious kind of stories. I love that part. So that's kind of the energy that El Dia de Muertos brings to each of us. And how you set up your altar is really up to you. Most of the time people have photographs that they have of that family member, and sometimes they'll have like a food item or something, a dessert that they really, really loved next to it to kind of be like, this is what Grandma really loved. And for me, you would have to have buñuelos because that is like my favorite dessert ever. So it's kind of just the interesting part of it is like, how did this culture kind of like take over? Because it really is something that a lot of people, even if that's not your culture, will now celebrate. So that's kind of the cool part as well, that cultures kind of like influence us in some ways, and really taking that time to dedicate to our friends and our family that have passed before us. So that's kind of the cool part. If you have different cultural ideas about celebrating the people that have passed before you, tell me about it. I think it's really interesting to learn about different cultures. I kind of grew up between two cultures, so I've always kind of been like very Hispanic in my understanding of what's going on with people, but then also kind of understanding kind of more the American traditional sides. So it's kind of like I grew up kind of walking between both worlds. So that is kind of an interesting energy. I will tell you, it was really interesting growing up with El Dia de Muertos because it was something that almost everybody I knew, even friends and family and schools and all that kind of stuff, like all kind of celebrated this in some way right after Halloween. So that kind of made it like really cool. Plus, right after Halloween, we still have that veil between the worlds that is so light and easy that they can come across and kind of make us feel that they're a part of what's going on, a part of the celebration, a part of the liveliness of the celebration of their lives. I hope that you get to celebrate El Dia de Muertos with your loved ones.